Good morning. I've got my beefy Botham vibration plate on. Hopefully that doesn't catch the microphone. Thank you very much to Nick Wharton. Now you'll understand why there were some blanks or some mute in yesterday's video. I forgot to put the system audio on so you could listen to the telegrams. Let's have a look at yesterday. And sometimes you have to admit you're wrong and make sure you take action to correct it. That's what we did in the Atletico Bilbao Paris Saint-Germain match. Yet another side in Paris Saint-Germain at 1.95, suspiciously high, given the fact Atletico Bilbao have had such an awful season in La Liga. Clearly the curse of the Champions League in La Liga, but PSG really should have taken them apart. But it was 0-0 and we got ourselves an exit. So we did the right thing yesterday. Let's take a look at some of the plays. Well, from a profitable perspective, quite simple. Lay the draw in the Juventus Paphos match. 1.18 pre-match favourite. We know all about Paphos. They're going to park the Cypriot bus. Call it a double-decker. They're a very hard team to break down. But we did miss a bit of an opportunity to go for a correct score win to 0 for Juventus. Why? 1.18 pre-match favourites. Always a clue in the market. It was there for you. What this normally indicates, for me, is a 3-0, a 3-1, any other home score. Now, given the fact that Paphos had kept them quiet for the first half, arguably that 2-0 was in play for us, wasn't it? We should have really had a go at that 2-0. It's always an option for you. If you go for a correct score win to 0, you're going to get better odds than you would laying that draw. But this is the simplest entry point. Full liability. Again, delaying like we did in Coventry to get better value. 2.92, exceptional value really for a 1.18 shot pre-match. And they delivered. Atletico Bilbao and Paris Saint-Germain delighted with calling this one correctly. Now, we laid the draw at, I think it was 2.88. Now, when you've got something like Fairbot and you click on the ladder interface, in the match that you've laid the draw in, or the market you've laid in, this ladder interface will show you the profit as it goes up or down. And you can work out, at least I did for you yesterday, that about 1.78, was it? Or thereabouts, was where I hit 1/3 of liability as loss. Why do I choose 1/3 of liability as loss? So my lay of the draw, like Juventus, was 40 quid. Why did I choose £13? Well, you divide 40 by 3, that's 13. So if you have a round figure of 30, that's a tenner. And it's psychologically comforting as well, because you get 2/3 of your liability returned to your bank. So, yes, Paris Saint-Germain knocking on the door. Lots and lots of XG, but not getting anywhere. I decided to do a Gareth. I call it a Gareth Bale and get out. Now, how did I engineer this late on? It was a simple enough job. Use the variable profit Dutching calculator, which is here. Something to show you in a live stream, perhaps, rather than trying to explain it verbally without any pictures. What I did was hoping for a late goal. So I was laying, or either even backing Paris Saint-Germain at 20s, Atletico Bilbao at 44s to negate that red screen and hope for a late goal. It didn't arrive, but it only cost me an extra £1.50 in case the late goal arrived. So well played that yesterday. We got 2/3 of our liability returned. We just couldn't get that goal, and there was a suspicion with that Atletico Bilbao match prior against Eintracht Frankfurt, I think it was, that 0-0, and then keeping Atletico Madrid quiet at the weekend. They might have turned a corner defensively. Rotherham and Blackpool, before I turn into Bonnie Tyler or Rod Stewart. We'll talk about Bonnie. Rotherham and Blackpool. What did I do to get involved here? And why did I get involved here? 2.7 the favourite, 2.55 the favourite, and a frog in the throat. 0-2 lead very, very early. We've been targeting these, particularly in cup matches, and they have been obliging. At least getting yourself to a 3-2, for example. But on this occasion, well, again, Rotherham looking really good, to be perfectly honest with you. 1.35 expected goals. They're expecting a goal from them. Obviously, Blackpool taking their chances. Not creating the best chances, but taking them. Second half, even Stevens. But the in-play stats, again, 7 shots on target. Or 7 shots in total. 7 corners to 2. Pressure, 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 pressure. But when you're laying with this kind of a liability, it's not going to be worry money, is it? That's important. I can't get a drink to wet the old whistle because my parents are still asleep. Villarreal, well, all over the shop, wasn't it, yesterday? It was an interesting match. We had a 0-1. I covered the 1-2, and I covered both teams to score no, because Copenhagen had a threat. And we did get to that 1-2 eventually. And that would give you an opportunity again to get involved. I pass this on to you. At 1-2, you could lay over 3.5 goals to cover the current scoreline. And then look for a Villarreal equaliser. And I hope you've got out at the 2-2. So that's the Blackpool match. Hope you've got out at the 2-2 there. Once bitten, twice shy, I suppose. Copenhagen. Villarreal made it 1-1 very quickly. That was your first out, right at the beginning of the second half. That was the opening gambit there. Elyounoussi, they always tend to rest him in the league matches prior to the Champions League. He is the key to their goals. And Comasana getting a very, very nice 1-1. Now, did you get out between that and that? If not, fear not. You could have laid over 3.5 goals there to cover this 1-2 scoreline, because we laid over 1.5 goals here, didn't we? And we delayed again. So you got some real good value. We got involved right at the end of half-time. The half-time break, by the way. So right at the beginning of the second half, thankfully, got on decent odds. But I'm afraid I didn't record it here. My apologies again. I have to remember to try to press this button with each trade. That way I can collect the green screens for you and talk you through them. But I got a few of them on Telegram yesterday. Laying over 3.5 goals here covers the 1-2. And it didn't cost you too much. About £6 liability. Or insurance premium, I call it. Got the 2-2. That was a possible out. Okay. Would have been a decent enough return. Or for me, another one of those matches you quite simply say, bail out with a break even. Even taking insurance out on the 1-2 and the 0-2. Well, not the 0-2, but both teams to score no. Thanks to John H for that. You could cash out here for an effective break even. Given the fact that Villarreal, yes, wonderful in La Liga, but in the Champions League, it's all gone Pete Tong. Let's have a look at the Yellow Submarine, and they are sinking, I'm afraid. Look at that. What on earth's gone wrong here? They are absolutely bossing. Well, that's Man City, fair enough. Paphos, though. What on earth are you doing losing to Paphos, you absolute dingbats? Dortmund, well, at Dortmund, and that Copenhagen loss. Compare that to this, and you'll see why the market was fooled. They're having a quite wonderful season, third in La Liga, and just bossing everything at home. Look at this challenge table form here. Only lost to the 2 Madrid sides, and that was away. That's why the market was tempted in. But if you contrast that with the Champions League form, as Les Dennis would say. It's always good to have a stroll through the results yesterday for the what might have beens, and I was kicking myself, to be honest with you, with a 0-2 Leicester lead early on. Should have really got involved. A very low liability. Away from home, not in the best of form of late either. And look at that comeback. It's not after timing. You'll be surprised if you had a webcam here with a microphone picking up the amount of swearing I do for not passing these on to you, having called them correctly. Ipswich did a number yesterday. As expected, they are starting to purr a little now. Rotherham, we got involved. Crewe did get the goal to make it 2-1 from that Newport red card. So laying the draw is an excellent... Forget about the 2-2 final scoreline. That's irrelevant. When you're trading, it's not about the final scoreline. It's about what happens in play. So old Billy getting the goal there. 48th minute. And then the red card for Baker Richardson. And Mr. March making it 2-1. So you could have laid the draw once you've checked that you're getting a good response from Crewe. Then you could lay the draw. Because if you lay the draw and the team with 11 score, you're guaranteed to get double figure odds about the draw. Doesn't matter what happened with Antwi late on. That's irrelevant. This is your trade from there to there. Anything else doing yesterday? Well, I did give a tentative call to over 2.5 goals at 1-0 by Leverkusen. That covered the next team to score. Newcastle nearly pulled off the win there. And you can see now that Bayer Leverkusen lost to Augsburg was purely down to Champions League distraction, wasn't it? Quite simple. Arsenal were just brilliant. No real angle once they get a 1-0 lead. They're not going to be taken apart at all. Benfica, the special one, doing a number on Napoli, had to win. The special one had to win. Benfica were down where Ajax are, all the way down here. Now, with 2 consecutive wins, they're up to 6, and they are within a hair's breadth of making this important top 24. So the special one is starting to purr at Benfica. Well, let's have a look at today's trading angles, and I'm afraid there's no research for members today. I'm not going to be researching the Europa League or UEFA Conference League, particularly the latter competition. It's just full of teams you don't know. Dritter, Zurinsky, they're all very good for Scrabble scores, but not much else. Let me take you through a walk through some of the more familiar names in the Europa League and Conference League. Again, there won't be any expected goals either. There's no point because the XG will be done via the domestic league form, and that doesn't carry on through to these competitions, which are one-off matches in a league format against teams you're never going to meet again, highly likely. For those of you up early, you've got some interesting matches. Gamba Osaka, Ratchaburi. I wouldn't be dismissing Ratchaburi, the mighty Thai team. One of the places in Thailand you can go and see giraffes, Ratchaburi, and you can stay in kind of like hobbit places up on the hills. Absolutely stunning place if you're ever in Ratchaburi. And go to the golf course, you'll meet the monkeys as well on the first tee. But enough about Ratchaburi. I hope the Thai Tourist Board are listening. Give me a nice visa. Move on down the Landspocket Cup. Probably no interest in that today. Europa League. Any teams of interest for me? Well, Rangers, any Scottish team in Europe has just been appalling this season. Yes, there are old reliables. Midtjylland got us out of jail against Freiburg, didn't they? But I don't know how that will translate against the Danish side, Genk. The Belgian side, Genk. Some really tricky matches as the market predicts. Look, 2.15. Just not grabbing the eye, are they? Stuttgart, though, could lean towards being banker material. They are full of goals in the German Bundesliga. If that can translate in any way to today, Maccabi Tel Aviv shouldn't be landing a blow. Looking at motivation as well as a factor if you're going to be choosing matches. Anything outside the top 24. Any of these lot who are odds-on favourite, you might get a tune out of them today. Look at Maccabi Tel Aviv in all sorts of bother. Look at Stuttgart. Where are they? They're likely to be, well, top 12. So a win for Stuttgart could take them zooming to the top 3. Motivation and a decent side. So I will certainly have Stuttgart on the watch list. Midtjylland, yes, in the Danish Superliga, reliable, but I'm not too sure if I can read the match that clearly here. Slight unknowns about Sean Dyche in Europe. It's a very rare venture for Sean. And Nottingham Forest, a bit like Go Ahead Eagles, though. They're going to have to be a little bit careful, Forest. Didn't Go Ahead Eagles do a number on them? Let's have a look. I seem to recall. And they've been beaten by the likes of Malmo as well. So it could be that Sean Dyche is fielding a different 11 to the first 11 you're going to be seeing. I'm sure they were playing Go Ahead Eagles or Midtjylland as well under old Ange Postecoglou. Lord knows how he gets managerial jobs. Absolute bedlam, whichever team he turns up in. So interesting. They will get a look in because they are, well then, we know them, don't we? Well, Basel are having a rare old time of it in the Swiss Super League, but this is the Europa League. This is where old Dick Emery, the manager of Aston Villa, thrives. Even in his Sevilla days, this is his competition. Aston Villa have a 2-goal habit away from home as well, so we can hope that Basel score first. That has a feel of banker material about it, I think. Aston Villa today have been absolutely superb. Celtic and Roma. I could see Roma doing a number over Celtic, but far too many 1-0 results for Roma in SerieA suggests a slight weakening up front. Not a banker. Aston Villa, Stuttgart for me, absolute standout today. Moving on through. Feyenoord against Steaua Bucharest. They do have the goal habit. Robin van Persie's Feyenoord. Might want to just keep an eye on that one. Lyon against Go Ahead Eagles. I'm not sure they should be that short priced because Go Ahead have a goal threat in them, being a Dutch side. But the banker material for me, certainly Aston Villa, top of the tree, Stuttgart next. Conference League, it's going to be a lot different, but we go all the way down to the bottom here. Crystal Palace. Whenever an Irish side meets an English side, even in a friendly, it tends to be the Premier League side or the English side that outs. It's as simple as that. So I know the odds are screaming banker material, but as a trader, well, they're there. They shouldn't be beaten. So let's just hope that Shelbourne score first, or it's a 0-0 at half time. Again, with these other matches, there's just that unknown factor. Hamrun, who the bleep are Hamrun? And Dritter, who the are Dritter? We know AZ Alkmaar, we know Troy Parrott. God bless you, getting Irish, that Irish hat-trick. Yes, not a banker, but keep an eye. We're expecting of the Eredivisie side, but we just don't know anything about Dritter. And that's the problem with this league. Aberdeen been doing a few 1-0s in the SPL. Strasbourg, top 4 in the French League. But how does that equate? How do we gauge these two? That's the problem. Thank you very much for your comments about the apps yesterday. I will take them on board. And I'm working on migrating Football Trading Profits into an app because we're going to have the power of Google with us. We're going to have the power of Google's AI with us as well. Yes, you'll have me. I'll be writing the blog. I can translate my blog to here. You'll have the live stream in one place as well. You'll have the course, and we can make the course even better. And you'll be able to look at different categories as well. We've got the glossary, got the webinars, expert analysis from AI as well as myself, so I can migrate all of the AI apps into the one place. So this looks very exciting. XG as well. So I look forward to launching this next year. I think it'll be a great improvement, and it will improve your trading no end. If we can have all of the XG and research tools that I'm using in the one place, and we can have a community as well. The YouTube live stream will be here. Twitter, I just use really for marketing purposes, but these are just pretend, or they're called placeholders. Instagram as well, and the Facebook page. But it's YouTube is where we're primarily going to be at. So I can do everything in FootballTradingProfits.com, all in the one place. So I hope to get this up and running for you by, I hope, mid to end of January. And I'm trying to get a trading simulator working as well. What this will do, it will produce a game at total random. It'll tell you the pre-match odds, and it'll tell you the in-play stats. You're going to have to figure out, how do you play? It's a difficult one. I don't think we'll be able to pull it off with a small budget, but I'm getting AI working on it for you. Well, this has gone over the 20-minute mark, so it's not going to be available on Instagram. But on YouTube, you'll be able to watch it. And do please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. The more subscribers we get and the more comments we get, the greater the algorithm, and we can get some momentum going. Have a great day today. My mother is going in for a hip operation, the old bionic woman. So no break dancing for her for a couple of days. That might impinge on tonight's coverage, but as you can see, I don't like the Conference League. Let's keep our dough in our pocket for the readable league football Friday and Saturday. As ever, if I'm back home, I will be following this on your behalf, particularly those bankers that I've shown you. Have a great day, and I'll see members of FootballTradingProfits.com on Telegram, I hope, if there's nothing amiss with the old Ma and her new hip.